back out in the gravels at sunset. I don't think we're gonna have much direct light, but got a spray bottle, little time, and a huge bed of rocks. And I'm actually in the mood for locating some of these landscape stones, which is kind of what I came down here for. And they are rich down here with it. So we are again on Puta Creek looking through the gravels. These have ended up being just really beautiful stones when you cut them and slice them. And so I'm going to gather some up and we will do some slicing. And oh man, that just looks like a good one. So does that actually. Yeah. Yeah, look at that. These are kind of a special thing. More and more of these are becoming a favorite of mine, even though they are not translucent and they're just considered a common stone. But as I started cutting them open, I was amazed at how the patterns look. Even just in this form. Here's a great one. I can see different colors of hills and stuff coming out of here. It's wedged in. It's a larger rock, but it's also, you look at the seam in that. And they kind of speak for themselves. And yeah, if I can make flat slabs out of that, it's very appealing. Serpentine. I think it's just the top layer on there. Whereas this one's a solid nodule all the way through, it looks like. Yeah, might be the same thing. A thin layer on top of just a regular greenstone. This one has a little moss growth in it. Moss looking growth. Fine stripes, really fine stripes, super cool. And then that black moss pattern running through it. With the little stripes. That could be some fun material right there for sure. You just slice that in half and butterfly it, and that alone looks really cool. Some bright yellows in this jasper. Some white for contrast there. Use that one there. That's the epitome of a rock. Is something made up of a bunch of other minerals. Something made up of a bunch of other minerals that forming a whole we call a rock. That's how abundant this landscape stone is. These are all pieces of it, so you gotta pick it up and see. I mean, that's kind of cool in its own way, you know? All of them are. Looking for that one that lights up, where it has a bunch of patterns or hills in it. I like when they look like a desert scene. Well, this one's a little too big for me today, but a good example. That thumbprint sky coming down, can you see that? Big overall circular pattern and then a horizon made of just really distinct line. Yeah, and that swoops all the way around. Oh, and this also has the black, what you'd end up calling moss patterns, or yeah, those aren't lichens, that's inside there. And these very faint lines that you see are the ones that wrap around to become literally this thumbprint sky. That's a nice one. That's pretty cool right there. Yeah, now I've seen shots of sandstone with this exact color. I thought it was sandstone, then I come back out here in the field handling the material, knowing the volcanic zone we're in. Feels a lot like Tuff, but yeah, look at that. There's a chunk that you can work with for sure. That'd be consistent. Slabbing all the way through. Not to mention just even as it is pretty fun. Bag's getting pretty full pretty quick here. But that's okay. It can be short and sweet sometimes. That's fine too. There's a good one. Mostly hills and very little sky in this one. We're deep down in the canyon looking out. But we'll take it. See, I think this stone, when cut, so it's a little less rough, with that many low horizons and how they're all dark outlined on each other, you can cut that and get some awesome skyline. I think we're going to. I think we're going to go back and put these under the saw pretty much now, as far as you're concerned, in the video. One's also a little bit big for me today. Maybe on a bucket day, if we happen to be here ever again and happen to be wandering by this spot and happen to have time and ability to carry it home. This one's actually got some killer details too. This has a lot of those little black inclusions, and the overall size of it could make a wall piece almost. Something like this is more what we have room for the rest of the way through. Ooh, that one's kind of cool. And it's sharp contrast. Fun stuff. Fun stuff. I'm glad we decided to just focus on the one thing. I mean, there's greens and stuff everywhere. But that's the thing about rockhounding, is a lot of things we were taught originally were unexhaustible, and then we found out that they are exhaustible, and things get depleted as far as super rare things like tanzanite or something as an example. You know, where there's only one source. A lot of the common minerals and just pretty rocks, you have to realize that you're on a planet made out of it. No matter how we move it around, even when we grind it to dust, it just compacts back down to a rock again. So in time, there's really not much that we can do to them except for move it around. And so I think that they're pretty much one of those things where you can say, you know, they've set the guidelines and stuff and the limits, and they're pretty small when you look at it. It's 15 pounds of rock. And probably in a lifetime, you might be able to fill your entire half-acre yard with rocks or something. But really, then after you're gone and 1,000 years has passed and 10,000 years has passed, it's just another pile of rocks, which all the mountains end up being piles of rocks that go all the way down to where they're liquid in the core. And these eventually will cycle through, get melted down, and spit back up somewhere. So I'm just saying, they're permanent, we're not. I think they're pretty much okay to play with. Just has the black patterns in it. I'm going to keep it and try and slice down that line and see if we can get any bigger algae blooms out of it. Algae. It's like algae bloom. Who painted these? They get so whimsical sometimes. This one is just all stripes. Yep. It looks like it's got its head in the clouds or something. The top of the mountain is lost in the mist. Looks like a promising little nugget. Wow, yeah, okay. So, what is precious? Semi-precious, rare. Rare to who? Rare to where you are? Rare to hound when you find it and how you feel about it. And anything can be overlooked when it's accompanied by things that are more generally accepted as precious. Or not having the right light cast upon them. Or being in a rough condition when you find them. The stones are starting to match our own sky as it gets darker and darker and deeper blues and purples and burgundies. The actual stones are getting darker as we go. Sunset and Canyonlands. Somewhere out there, some of you are wandering around, looking at things just like this. I hope you're having a good time. Yeah, I feel like we've been twisting through the Canyonlands now for long enough. It's time to find some knoll overlooking the beautiful sunset. Make camp for the evening. Mount St. Helena. That's what the moon does. It's there to remind us that even though it's getting dark where we are, somewhere else the light is growing and things are balanced. This was Nate, reporting live from another gravel bed. We'll see you next time on the quest for details.